My name is Kelly Kirk. I've been married to Daniel for 40 years, and we've both been working together to get where we are today. We met in college, the same age, and both got jobs at the same company. We got married at 25. I'm facing retirement in 6 months, and Daniel retired last month. When our kids were little, we would argue over who would pick them up from daycare or who would make dinner over the smallest things. As the kids grew up, we faced challenges with their rebellious phases and planning their futures, but now those times are fond memories. Once I retire, I want to go to Paris. Maybe even Egypt. I used to dream, discussing such plans while watching TV. But looking back, I realize I was the only one talking. Daniel never really responded. Still, he's always been the quiet type, so I just assumed his silence meant agreement. However, our life was suddenly shaken up by Daniel's affair with a woman 30 years his junior. And she wasn't just anyone, she was a clerk at the company where I still work, and where Daniel had just retired from. We're getting a divorce. You're no longer needed. What? What do you mean? It's simple. She's my lover. I'm using my retirement funds to start a new life and travel with her, who's 30 years younger. Mirabelle, the mistress, smirked and looked at me triumphantly. 30 years younger? What are you thinking? It was so absurd, it was laughable. I thought maybe it was all just a fling. But then Daniel, hugging Mirabelle, declared they were getting married, showing off their affection for each other. If I were younger, I might have been upset. It could have been a real mess. But at 65, we had become like air to each other. I neither felt jealous nor irritated by his mistake. So, how did it come to this? After all these years together, with not much time left in our lives, we could finally relax. Don't you think it's foolish? What are you talking about? Despite being 65, I'm in a grand romance. I can still experience love, unlike you. He said shamelessly. I prefer to be with someone young and vibrant like Mirabelle, not an old wife filled only with a sense of domestic life like you. I see. But how did it come to this? When did it start? I'd like to hear about this grand romance of yours. Oh, sure. It all started when Mirabelle was assigned to my department. The first time I saw her, she seemed to shine. I was amazed that such a wonderful person existed. Are you sure that's not just because of your floaters and photopsia? You should probably see an eye doctor. Ridiculous. You always say that. Just because I have floaters doesn't mean everything looks shiny to me. She was the only one who shone. So, you're talking in the past tense now. This was my brain telling me she's the one, a goddess. That's wonderful. Daniel has been bothered by floaters for years. Doing things like swatting at nothing in front of him or complaining about seeing specks of dust floating in his vision. No matter how much it's attributed to his condition, he's never satisfied. I think before declaring it a grand romance, he should have visited a doctor because of the shining vision. Our deep connection began 2 years ago at the New Year's party. Mirabelle got drunk, and I took care of her and escorted her back to her apartment. That's when a relationship started. So, you're saying you were a wolf in sheep's clothing? Daniel and I work in different departments. I had no idea he was involved in such affairs. He was often out late for work, claiming it was overtime or business entertainment, coming home in the early hours. In that situation, I couldn't just suspect him of cheating all the time. Plus, I could never imagine my unremarkable husband having an affair. So, all those late nights and weekend work. Were they all just affairs? Yeah, that's right. How bold of you to admit it so freely. You never cared how much I said I was working overtime. Well, of course. I wouldn't suspect my salesman husband of cheating just because he's working late or not coming home till morning. I guess I hid it well then. More like you were deceiving me. Well, whatever. I'm gonna marry Mirabelle. Is that so? Congratulations. So, you're going to use all your retirement funds for yourself? Yeah, that's right. You're retiring soon too, aren't you? You'll get your retirement funds, though I bet it'll be less than mine. We'll see about that. If you want all the retirement funds, that's fine by me. I'll take my full retirement benefits too. Oh, right, it'll be after the divorce, so you won't have any claim to it. Yeah, that's why I'm saying my retirement funds are mine. Okay, I got it. So, we're getting a divorce. All right? No complaints, right? No, no complaints here. I just hope you won't end up regretting this. Regret? How could I when I'm this happy? Oh, is that so? I glanced over the divorce papers laid out in front of me, then at the woman. I have no issues with getting divorced, but something's been bothering me. What is it? Something's nagging at me. Hey, hurry up and sign the divorce papers. Right. As I picked up the pen, I was about to sign. A rumor crossed my mind. It was about Mirabelle. I've heard several rumors about her, none of them good. So that's what's been bothering me. Does he know about those rumors? If he's marrying her knowing all that, he's a real fool. If he's clueless, that's even more pathetic. What to do? Should I tell him? But he probably wouldn't believe me anyway. Rumors are just rumors, after all. I'd just end up being the bad guy. Yeah, better not say anything. After all this time, he straightforwardly admits to cheating, so why should I bother? But while I'm okay with the retirement funds part, other aspects are not so simple. Hey! What? I agree with the retirement funds part, but everything else is split in half. We're getting divorced, so everything should be divided equally. You have to agree to that, or no deal. Yeah, of course. Is that so? Then, that's fine. But we're gonna live in this house. In this house? Yeah, that's right. We're leaving for a pre-marriage trip soon, but when we come back, we'll live here. So you'll need to move out. Huh, is that so? Do as you like. Here's the divorce paper. The next day, Daniel and his lover Mirabelle went on their trip. As soon as they left, I made a beeline for a private investigator to inquire about Mirabelle's rumors. I wanted to find out if those rumors were true. Hearing that the investigation results would be available in about a week, I immediately went back home to start on the next task. First, I need to organize the stuff. With just 4 days until Daniel and Mirabelle returned, I had something specific I needed to finish. While listening to music, I got started on sorting through the belongings. And 4 days later, there was Daniel, struggling with a massive amount of luggage, followed by Mirabelle carrying just one bag. Watching them from the window, struggling with the luggage all the way from the station, seemed quite pathetic. I sat down on the living room sofa just before they entered the front door. Finally made it. Carrying all this luggage from the station was quite the task. Don't be like that, Daniel. Complaining about carrying that amount of luggage makes you sound like an old man. Oh, is that so? Yeah, you're right. This amount of luggage is nothing. Exactly. Despite his bravado, it must have been tough for him. He's always been one to complain about carrying even slightly heavy things. As Mirabelle opened the door and entered, she let out a startled yelp. What's this? What happened? Hey, there wasn't this red tape here when we left, right? No, there wasn't. Why is there? And it's going all the way down the hallway to the back. And the entrance is half too. What's going on? Ugh, this is creepy. Anyway, to the living room. Welcome back. I greeted Daniel and Mirabelle as if I just happened to pass by, stepping on the red tape at the entrance. Oh. Please don't step on that tape. What do you mean? Why is this here? I divided the house in half. This side is my space, and that side is your space. I've divided everything in half, including the living room and kitchen, so please don't enter my space. When they returned, they found the house divided by red tape. What's this all about? Mirabelle entered the house only to find it segmented by red tape everywhere. That's what I had been doing over the past 4 days. Dividing all the spaces in half to ensure we don't enter each other's living areas. That's what it means to split the house in half. The fridge is in my space, so please don't use it. You're newlyweds, so you'll buy new things anyway. The sink is the only one with water, so I divided it from underneath to half. No complaints, right? As for the bathroom, instead of splitting it in half, there's one upstairs. You have the upstairs, and I have the downstairs. Just make sure you don't use the wrong one. What's this? Even the sofa is cut in half. Yes, this side is my space, so if you lie down, you'll spill over to my side. Please don't do that. And no matter how dirty your space gets, make sure your trash doesn't come into my area. I can't stand messiness. What the hell, Daniel? What's going on? Say something. Anyway, Kelly. Weren't you supposed to leave the house? Oh, when did we make such an agreement? When we divorced, you said we'd live in this house. Yes, and so I divided it to make it livable. We're living here, so you were supposed to leave. I never agreed to that. You just said that on your own. I told you to do as you like. Live however you want, but everything's split in half, right? After being married so long, the house and even the savings and pension are split in half. Here's your half of the savings. What the hell? Mirabelle. That's my space. Your space is over there. Remember that. It doesn't matter where I stand. It does matter. There are things like cleaning to consider. I hate this. Oh, I can't believe this is happening. Now the house feels small. If you don't like it, you're free to leave. The worst. Daniel. What are we going to do? Just wait a sec. I need to use the bathroom. You just went. Old folks need to go more often. This is too much. Daniel, that's my space's bathroom. Yours is on the second floor. I won't make it in time. Good thing I insisted on having 2 bathrooms because of our 3 kids and wanting to avoid the morning bathroom rush. Never thought it'd come in handy like this. This is ridiculous. Get out. I don't have to listen to you. This house belongs to Daniel. Just because it's in his name doesn't mean it's solely his. We've both been paying the mortgage, it's marital property. We could even sell the house and split the money if you want. But with the retirement funds, we couldn't afford a house this big. Ugh. You sound like a monkey. That's better. It's not better at all. This house is in Daniel's name, isn't it? You said so. Yeah, that's right. So why aren't you kicking her out? That's because... Didn't you understand what I just explained? Are you that slow? The house is marital property, not just one person's. If you don't like it, you should leave. I'm not leaving. I refuse to budge. The one who should leave is you. Oh, is that so? And about the rooms, there are 3 upstairs and 1 downstairs. 1 room downstairs and 1 upstairs are my spaces. The other 2 upstairs are yours. I'll take one of the bedrooms upstairs. Please don't make noise at night. Why do you have to sleep upstairs? The downstairs is fine. Where I sleep is my business. From that day on, our strange cohabitation began. I continued to work and cook for myself. Having been a housewife for years, making meals for one was no trouble at all. Daniel, having always relied on me to cook, was hopeless in the kitchen. He couldn't even properly prepare instant noodles. And when I thought Mirabelle would cook, it turned out she couldn't cook at all. Dinner time became quite the spectacle. The food on the right and left sides of the table, divided by red tape, couldn't be more different. Daniel and Mirabelle would have microwaved foods. Everything was just heated up. My side would have delicious, steaming dishes. Always 3 sides, and freshly baked bread. Oh, delicious. This stew is so good. Talking to myself became more frequent, but that was inevitable. Hey, if it's that good, can't you share a bit? Oh, Daniel. You have your new wife to cook for you. Even if she can't cook, you could ask her to try. You were always so kind not to ask me even when I was sick. The sarcasm was unavoidable. A little bit should be fine. And the woman who doesn't clean, do laundry, or tidy up made their space increasingly cramped. She would come home from work, strip off her clothes, and leave them scattered everywhere. Snack wrappers would be left on the floor, and she wouldn't throw away her trash. Empty bottles and cans littered the room, some even encroaching on my space. Mirabelle. Don't dirty my space. It's not my fault if it gets in. You're not even doing the basic task of throwing away trash. Are you less capable than a monkey? If you can't keep clean, you don't deserve to live in a house. Stop nagging. Maybe if you kept it clean, I wouldn't have to nag. She disregarded the tape as she walked around. But this behavior was something I couldn't overlook, so I decided to try a new approach. I installed a partition over the tape in the hallway. Thanks to that, the hallway became quite narrow, barely enough room for one person to walk through. However, it also meant that my space no longer got dirty. My side always stayed clean, while Daniel's side was constantly messy. Unable to stand the mess, when Daniel complained to Mirabelle, her retorts came back tenfold. I'm working, you know. I come back from work, and there's Daniel, just loafing around at home. And then you tell me to clean up? Why don't you do it yourself? You're just a retired old man, it's the least you could do. Daniel seemed unable to reply to her machine gun-like response. Even though she claimed to be working, she spent her entire salary on herself, contributing nothing to the household expenses. Kelly, what do you think? About what? Mirabelle isn't contributing to the household expenses. That's a matter between you two. I'm not sure what you want me to say. But, can't something be done? You chose a woman 30 years younger as your wife, so you'll just have to deal with it. Did I make a mistake? I wouldn't know about that. After all, she was the love of your life, shining brightly to you. I couldn't help but laugh inwardly at Daniel. Then, one day, Mirabelle was nowhere to be found at the company. Being in a different department, I had no idea why she wasn't there. She should have been at work since she left the house in the morning. I casually asked the boss about it. Then, an unexpected answer came back. Oh, she resigned. Resigned? Yeah, don't know what happened exactly, but we got a sudden notice from the temp agency. It was only half a year left on her contract anyway, so we'll get someone else in for support. It's irresponsible, really. Her sudden resignation didn't cause any chaos at the office, and many colleagues seemed relieved, to be honest. While she was fast at her work, it was quite sloppy, leading to a quiet dissatisfaction floating around the department. The company was like that, but things were different for Daniel. When he came home, he was in a panic. Kelly, Mirabelle hasn't come home. Was she at the office? I can't get through to her no matter how much I try. She wasn't there. Is that so? What could have happened? She quit, that's what happened. She quit? Why? I don't know, the company didn't seem to know either, but you're her husband, shouldn't you know? No, I had no idea she was planning to quit. Even though you're married. She's not coming back. Hey, Daniel. Do you have a bank statement? Why? I was wondering if she might have taken it with her. That can't be. Daniel shouted but checked the drawer anyway. Indeed, the bank statement was there. See, the bank statement is right here. Daniel was relieved, but I snatched the bank statement and opened it to find a balance of $0. What's this? The balance is 0. It can't be. There was supposed to be $200,000 in this account. It was, but it's been withdrawn today. What? I thought as much. What do you mean? Come with me, I have something to show you. I led Daniel to the living room and laid a detective agency's report on the table. What's this? A report from the detective agency I hired. Whose investigation was this? It was Mirabelle. There's no point in investigating you now, Daniel. Right. According to the report, she's never held a job for long. And she's been divorced 5 times. No way! Every time, she ran off with her husband's money. Her husband's money? Rumors at work were that she'd get close to male employees, get deeply involved, and then demand money from them. That would have been found out, right? Well, you didn't notice, Daniel. She must be pretty good at it. But if she demanded money, wouldn't the men have said something? That's questionable. The company has a strict no-dating policy. If found out, you're fired. Seems like they just paid her off and broke up to avoid trouble. Then why did she marry me? It's absurd. Not really. It's quite clear, isn't it? You were nearing retirement after 40 years of service. Anyone could see the sizable retirement fund coming. Now that you mention it, she did seem quite interested in the company's policies. She targeted that. I can't believe it. If you can't believe it, maybe that's better for you. Happier, perhaps. It's not my concern. Do you know where she is? What will you do with that information? I love Mirabelle. I'm going to find her, obviously. What about this house? She must have hated living here because of this house. That must be it. Living with an ex-wife in a house divided by red tape? No wonder she left. I don't need this house. I see. Seeing Daniel's pained expression, I produced another envelope with investigation report on it. What's this? I thought something might come up. I had her recent activities investigated too. She was going out frequently.
You are.
What?
I thought you were investigating that.
I was investigating her because there were so many suspicious things about her. Plus, she seemed quite greedy when it came to money. You might not see it because you're in love, but I can see it clearly because I'm objective.
So, you investigated her?
Well, I thought you'd want to know. I figured if she left the house, you'd definitely want to chase after her.
For me?
Yes. As your former wife, I understand these things.
Wow, Kelly, what an amazing person you are. Even after I betrayed you, you do all this for me.
I knew it. So, you really don't need this house, right?
Yeah, I don't need it. I'm going to find Mirabelle and live happily with her.
Okay. Then sign this document stating you really don't need the house.
Sure, I'll sign anything. For everything you've done for me, Kelly, I'll gift you this house.
Okay, thank you. Please, go be happy. After Daniel signed the document, he dashed off in search of Mirabelle. As for me, as soon as Daniel was gone, I started the process of disposing of the house. Thus, I sold the house and moved my belongings into a condominium I had purchased in anticipation. The reason I had purchased a condominium in advance was because I was certain Mirabelle would leave, and following that, Daniel would rush out of the house in pursuit of her. Furthermore, I had anticipated that he would believe Mirabelle left because of living in a house divided by red tape. However, I'm not a psychic, so there was a chance my predictions could be wrong. But I was okay with that. Because I was tired of living with them and wanted to leave. Surprisingly, my prediction was only slightly off. A week later, Daniel came back. But finding the locks changed, he panicked and contacted me.
Hey, I just got back home. Why are the locks changed?
Oh, I sold the house.
What? Why would you sell it?
You said you didn't need it.
I said I didn't need it, but selling it? What about my place to live?
I don't know about that. You're the one who said you didn't need it. Besides, you have Mirabelle, right? Better than living in a house divided by red tape. Why don't you two rent something new together?
That's the thing.
You did meet her, didn't you?
Yeah, I met her, but she said she wanted to break up.
Why?
She said I go to the bathroom too often.
Really?
She didn't realize I was that old.
That was obvious.
Yeah. I said that, but she claimed she didn't know. Said being with me reminded her of her grandfather, and that's why she took the $200,000 as a severance and consolation.
And you just accepted that?
What choice did I have? Being with such a young woman, even for a little while, I thought of it as a good dream and decided to let go.
Well, if you can think of it that way, maybe that's for the best. Were you actually married?
No, whenever I brought up registration, she said she hadn't told her parents or that we should save up more money first.
She doesn't have parents, you know.
What?
She was an orphan, raised in a facility.
It was all a lie.
She planned to deceive you from the start.
What am I supposed to do now? Suddenly, losing all my retirement money feels like a big loss.
Well, you're penniless now.
Kelly, will you remarry me? What? You cared enough to investigate, doesn't that mean you still have feelings for me?
You must be joking. I orchestrated your leaving the house. Thanks for falling for it perfectly.
Why?
My revenge for being deceived. Enjoy your karma. Afterward, Daniel, with nowhere to live, managed with what money he had in his wallet and experienced being a net cafe refugee for the first time in his life. But without an address, he couldn't work and seemed to be in dire straits, eventually contacting me again.
Kelly, please help me.
Oh, Daniel. What happened?
Since then, I've been getting by on what little money I had in my wallet, but now it's all gone.
Well, that was bound to happen.
I'll starve to death at this rate.
Why don't you just get a job? The problem is, I can't even reapply for work without an address. I tried asking my siblings for help, but they're all busy with their own kids and feeling awkward about it. I reached out to my kids, but they just laughed at me for cheating with a woman 30 years younger. They said it's my own fault for getting involved with such a young woman. Well, my children said what I wanted to say. Good for them.
Come on, I'm desperate here.
Good luck. You had the energy to have a grand romance, so you'll figure something out. I said that and hung up on Daniel. Eventually, realizing no one would help him, Daniel borrowed money from a consumer finance company and managed to rent a cheap apartment. He found a job at a supermarket, working the night shift for higher pay, rubbing his sleepy eyes as he worked hard to pay off his debt. However, the shock of losing everything made him lose weight, subsisting on expired foods. It led to him breaking down physically and mentally. As for me, I retired 6 months later. Thanks to that, I received my retirement benefits and am now living happily with my dog. Though betrayed by my husband, my dog's loyalty has been healing.